Welcome to Public Administration Foundation course. As you know, in last lecture when we studied, we concluded our unit 1. So in that lecture, I already told you about one important aspect of organization. What was that? I told you an organization is made of basically three things. What are those three things? Men, method and material. What are those things? Men, method and material, or in another word you can also say that this is an organization. This is what? An organization. It is made up of what? Method, men and one more thing. What was that? That was material. Okay, and as I told you, when it comes to classical thinkers, when we talk about classical thinkers, actually classical thinkers covers what? Material and method. That is, method plus material is focus of classical thinkers, right? So today we will start unit 2. Today we will start unit 2, that is, we will start about studying classical thinkers. Although when it comes to syllabus of UPSC or even Bihar PCS and Uttar Pradesh PCS, actually their syllabus is nothing new. They have just copied everything from UPSC. So actually if you see the distribution of syllabus, the distribution is actually not very proper. पढ़ने में you will get some problem. So what I have done, I have distributed your syllabus properly so that you can study every aspect very clearly. More than that, more than studying, it is important that you can interlink between all lectures, right? So let's move on and start this chapter. Okay, so whenever we are studying classical thinkers, we will start from the first thinker, which is Frederick Wilson Taylor, very famous thinker. Actually, he is the first thinker after Woodrow Wilson, which you can say in public administration, he is a first thinker which you will find have some elements of science in his thinking. Although Woodrow Wilson is considered as first thinker of public administration, Frederick Wilson Taylor, you can say he is considered as second thinker, although the division is not very rigid, but you can consider him as a second thinker, but first thinker of classical era, whose thinking is actually related to more related to scientific aspect. He sees management or administrative management as a science. How he sees that, we will just see. Okay, so let's start this our lecture. So before starting, let me clarify some aspects about theories, because 2-3 terms will always come when we are studying chapter 2. And always remember, in all public administration, the most important chapter is chapter 2, that is administrative theories. Why? Because if you have good command on administrative theory, most probably you will very easily interrelate your answers. Either it is question is coming from paper 1 or either question is coming from paper 2. Okay, so when we talk about theories, actually theories are always of two types. Theories are always of two types. First type, sometimes you may have found that theory is given by experiment, by doing experiment in laboratory. Theory is given by doing experiment in laboratory. Okay, and sometimes what happens, theory is also given by experience, by a long experience. Let's say any person who is working in a same field for 40-50 years, actually he, after working such a long time, he has gained lots of experience. So he sometimes, these kind of people also try to give some theoretical aspect. So just remember that when a theory is given on the basis of experiment, such type of theories are called empirical theories. Such type of theories are called what? Empirical theories. Okay? And when a theory is given on the basis of experience rather than on experiment, then that same theory is known by the name of what? Normative theory or derivative theory. Okay, so actually when we will study thinkers, when we will study the criticism of thinkers, actually this term empirical theory or normative or derivative theory will often come. So that it is important that your concepts are very clear. है ना? So when we say, है ना, little bit, I am just trying to give you little bit more clarity on this empirical aspect. See, empirical aspect is most of the times they are idealistic in nature. They will talk about idealistic things. So most probably you will find that they will talk about what ought to be. What ought to be means कैसा होना चाहिए, है ना? More like idealistic thing, है ना? And since it is based, this normative theory or derivative theory is based on experience, then you will find these theories are more close to realistic aspect. That is what is their focus is more on what is. They are rather more realistic than idealistic view of empirical theories, right? Now let's move to our next aspect. Okay, here it is written organization or administrative theory. See, before starting our first thinker, what I thought I should give you a brief idea about our unit 2. What are the aspects, what are the thinkers we are going to study in chapter 2 or unit 2. Okay, so when we say organization or administrative theory, है ना, many people think that both are same. When we say organization or administration, both are same. That is not correct. Actually, both are same also and both are different also in some aspect. है ना? Actually, this is organization, this is administrative organization. That is, organization is a macro aspect and administrative organization is a sub part of organization, right? So first aspect which we will cover in this unit, that is unit 2, is first we will cover classical theorists or classical thinkers. Okay, and when we talk about classical thinkers, we will cover especially 3 school of thoughts in this aspect. First we will cover scientific management theory. Scientific management theory we are going to cover today. After that we will see classical theory, है ना? So scientific management means what? Scientific management is nothing but theory of views of Frederick Wilson Taylor. When we talk about classical theory means view of Henry Fayol and Gulick and Urwick. After that we will talk about view of very famous sociologist. His name is what? Max Weber. We will study about ideal bureaucracy theory given by Max Weber. Okay, so this will be our first aspect when we are studying what? When we are studying unit 2. After that we will move and see human relation thinkers or HRT. Human relation thinkers, है ना? I have written simply HRT, है ना? You can write in full form, that is human relation theorist. And when it comes to human relation theorist, actually only one thinker is very famous. His name is what? Elton Mayo. So we will see views of whom? We will see views of Elton Mayo. After that, we will move and we will cover the third aspect or third type of thinkers or approach, that is those thinkers whose focus is on behavioral aspect, that is behavioral approach. Okay? And when it comes to behavioral approach, we will simply focus on whom? First we will focus on Herbert Simon. Later on we will focus on Chester Bernard. Okay? After this we will see some new thinkers, new type of thinkers, which you can say new human relation. New human relation. New is what? New means new. So we will focus more on some important thinkers whose theories are related to behavior aspect as well as classical aspect. It means that they focus on main material as well as method. Okay, so some of the thinkers on whom we will focus. First we will study about Herzberg theory of X and Y. After that we will study about Maslow. Argyris, very famous thinker, and last we will study about Likert. So these are the thinkers which we will cover when it comes to neo-human relation. After that we will move to systems theory or contingency theory. That is fifth aspect. After that we will move towards what? We will move towards new type of thinkers, that is called system theory. System theory, or sometimes they are also known as what? Contingency theorist. Okay. After that we will move to sixth aspect. In sixth aspect actually we will see what? Various approach of public administration. This sixth aspect is actually given in your unit 1 in UPSC syllabus, but here we are going to cover various approaches in unit 2. Why? Because after you are knowing thinkers, actually you will be able to understand various approaches very nicely. Actually, after conceptual clarity, it will be very easy to relate all approaches in public administration. So first aspect which we will study is comparative public administration. After that we will study about development administration. Okay. After that we will study about, actually we will study about new public administration. We will study about what? New public administration. Then we will study about public choice approach. Then new public management. Then good governance. These are some new developments in study of public administration. Okay, and one thinker which I have missed, and it is very difficult to classify that thinker in any category. Either it is classical, either it is behavioral, either it is motivational. The name of that thinker, and incidentally she is also a single female in all men's, Mary Parker Follett. Her views are very revolutionary, very revolutionary view, when it comes to solving conflicts, when it comes to communication, when it comes to motivation. Overall, you can summarize that view of Mary Parker Follett was ahead of her time. Many people say Mary Parker Follett should be studied as a classical thinkers. But many times, sometimes people मिला जुला के है ना, you can conclude that there is lots of controversy about Mary Parker Follett classification, in which school she should be classified. There is no specific idea. Now let us start about first thinker, that is scientific management aspect or scientific management theory, given by whom? About Frederick Taylor. Okay. So when we started public administration, one aspect I told you, and today you can see that why I was telling that. If you remember, I told you very clearly initially that if you want to understand any thinker, before understanding the concepts of that thinker, what you can do simply just read about his background. If you know about thinker's background, if you know the environmental conditions in which that thinker was living, many concepts or aspects of that thinker you will automatically able to understand. Okay, so we will start same thing by this Taylor. Before studying the concepts of scientific management which was given by Taylor, we will study about Taylor. So Taylor is considered as the father of scientific management. Father of scientific management. One misnomer is there that this term scientific management was given by Taylor. That is not true. Actually, the term scientific management was given by Louis Brandeis. Louis Brandeis. Who is this? Louis Brandeis, actually he was a famous advocate who later on became judge in USA. So when he was arguing one case, he used this term, the scientific management. Actually, in that case, during argument, he told that by using scientific management, organizations can increase efficiency. So Taylor has taken that term, which term? The scientific management term, actually from Louis Brandeis. Taylor was born in Pennsylvania. This is a German town in USA. It was a German town at that time. Actually, the origin of Taylor, his origin is his father and mother were basically German origin. Okay, so Taylor started working as first he started working as a laborer. Then he became apprentice. Then he became gang boss. Very interesting aspect you will find about Taylor. Later on he became manager, and one day he became chief engineer. And not only this, after that he founded 2 to 3 different companies. That is, he himself founded 2 to 3 companies. So Taylor is a very unique thinker, or a what you can say practitioner, who has worked at all levels of organization. So Taylor has one unique thing. He has worked at all levels of organization. Worked at all levels of what? Organization. That is a very unique about Frederick Taylor. Since he worked at the all level of organization, you will find that his view is very, very important and relevant when it comes to organizing industry, when it comes to organizing or studying any organization. Okay, now after gaining so much experience, actually Frederick Taylor, I think the slide has been interchanged. he wrote 4-5 books, है ना? So see, when you are studying about Taylor or when you are writing about Taylor in your answer, actually you should, when you are writing the concepts of Taylor, actually you should quote some books, some works of Taylor, है ना? So I will write 4 books, है ना? The most important book you should always quote because Taylor became famous by that book only. So first book which he wrote, first book, है ना, by which Taylorism can be summarized or all ideas of Taylor are there in that book. That book name is The Principles of Scientific Management. The book name is what? The Principles of Scientific Management. The Principles of what? The Principles of Scientific Management. Taylor wrote this book in 1911. This book became immediately very famous. Actually, Taylor is very famously or basically known for this book only. है ना? Later, one more book, है ना? Although that book is written before this book, that book also became very famous. In fact, in this book, he is describing steel, how to cut steel, है ना? And he got patent also from this book. The book name is The Art of Cutting Steel. The book name is what? The Art of what? Cutting tools. Okay? And he wrote this book in 1906. Okay? So whenever you are writing answer, try to write some works of Taylor, because when you are quoting some works of Taylor, then it is very obvious that your answer will look relevant as compared to others. Okay, now this was all about Taylor and his works. Now let us see what were the environmental factors under which Taylor was doing experiments or Taylor was working. So when we say environmental factors, actually we are talking about 1856 to what? 1910. Okay, so it is very obvious that we should know what was happening in these 50-60 years. Actually, what was going on in industry or in environment. So obviously, you know, this era is famous for what? Industrial Revolution. This era is famous for Industrial Revolution. And in previous lecture, I already told you, when Industrial Revolution came, actually new machines started coming. Since new machine started coming, now that machine was capable of doing what? Capable of doing 100 people work in 1 hour only. So actually now the corporates or industries started searching for the skilled people or skilled managers who are able to manage new technology, new machines. So new machines came into existence. So due to new machines, skills were needed. Since at that time that skill was not present, so lots of unemployment cases started happening. So due to that, conflict started between worker and manager at that time. Conflict started between workers and managers. And just a minute ago I told you Frederick Wilson Taylor worked both as worker as well as manager. So he saw organization by the eye of top to bottom. Okay? And side by side, big corporate organizations were emerging. Emergence of big corporates. For example, Ford. Ford is considered to be first MNC of whole world. So actually when we talk about Taylor, so Taylor was working or experimenting under these circumstances. So, now we'll move and we'll see what are the problems, how these things have impacted Taylor. So when you will see Taylor's work, when you will study Taylor's work, you will automatically, you can interrelate these aspects in background. What is that? Let us see now. Okay. So scientific management of Taylor. So if you want to study scientific management of Taylor, or if you want to understand the scientific management of Taylor, actually we need to categorize all concepts in three categories. What are those? The first category is, first Taylor talks about, first in an industry you should identify a problem. So first aspect is what? Identification of problem. First aspect is what? Identification of problem, right? Second aspect, Taylor says, after identification of problem, you should solve that problem using some scientific means or by scientific management. So, in summary, we can say second aspect as principles of scientific management. Principles of what? Scientific management. And third aspect which Taylor talks about is some methods he uses, how you can establish or run organization properly. Simply we can say that elements of scientific management. Elements or methods, whatever you like, you can write. Since in his book he has used this word element, so I am also using element. Here you can also write what? You can also write methods of scientific management. So always remember, when you want to study or when you want to understand the aspect of what? This aspect of scientific management of Taylor, you need to understand those aspects in three categories. What are those? First, you need to identify problem. After that, you need to understand what are some principles of scientific management by which you can solve these problems. And third, what are the methods or elements which you are going to use when you are solving the problem by using some scientific means. So now what we will do, we will see each of the three individually. So Taylor argues that in that era of industrial revolution, in that era of conflict between worker and manager, actually there are major two problems. He talks about two problems prevailing at that time. What are those two problems? Let us see. First problem, when he says there is problem of what? Rule of thumb. What is rule of thumb? We should know that. First problem he argues is rule of thumb. So what is this rule of thumb? First, let us understand this. For example, let's say 100 people are working under one manager. Now some problem came in organization. So let's say some problem came. So what used to happen? This manager will give any solution. On his will, he will give any solution on his will. Without any scientific means. Let's say he told, okay, this problem is there. What we need to do? We need to fire 40 guys. So 60 guys will do this work properly. So manager used to use any unscientific means for justifying his actions. So what used to happen? Lots of conflict used to happen due to this only. So this the act of manager, है ना, unnecessarily not depending on any rational thing, है ना, simply this act is known as rule of thumb. Rule of, this is thumb. Rule of thumbs means my way or no way, है ना, like my way is best way, है ना, you can understand like that, है ना. So what used to happen from managerial side, this problem used to happen. So but due to this, from worker side, what used to happen, due to this, workers were what, lazy. Workers never take any initiative. So management or manager own decision first and lack of incentive for workers. Okay, so when manager used to take unnecessary those decisions which were based on most illogical things, then the workers were also not very the workers were also neglected everything. Actually, what practically in reality was, what used to happen, if any problem is coming, then what used to happen, manager used to say it is fault of worker, and worker used to say it is fault of manager, है ना. Due to this, lots of conflict were happening in industrial organization. So this is first problem which Taylor talks about. So second problem, है ना, second problem was soldering. See, actually these are very simple concepts like rule of thumb, soldering, है ना. Since it is completely an American discipline, so you try to understand, है ना, these try to write these keywords in your answer. Rule of thumb is nothing but, I already told you, manager used to take decision on unnecessary irrational logic. He used to take decision whatever he likes, है ना. That is simply rule of thumb. Soldering means nothing but, है ना, when we talk about soldering, it means nothing but what, employees tend to restrict the output, है ना. Employees tend to restrict output, tend to restrict their output. Okay, so due to this rule of thumb, conflict happened, and workers as well as managers, है ना, as well as managers try to, means जानबूझ के, है ना, they don't wanted to work, है ना, और जानबूझ के they are not working. So these are two problems which Taylor describes. Now Taylor, when it comes to soldering, actually Taylor has written, or Taylor describes two types of soldering in organization. What are those two types? First is called natural soldering, है ना. So according to Taylor, this natural soldering is not a problem. What is natural soldering? See, natural soldering is, suppose any person is working for 8 to 10 hours, it is obvious that he will feel tired. Sometimes he will someday he will feel what, laziness, so he don't want to work, that is natural, very natural thing. So Taylor says, natural soldering is not a big problem. Second, he talks about systematic soldering. Second aspect which he talks, that is systematic soldering, and Taylor focuses on this type of soldering. He says systematic soldering and rule of thumb is a problem. So what are problems? First one is rule of thumb, second is systematic